Howdy, folks. Albert Moore of Blue Jacket Archery here again this afternoon. And a few weeks ago, actually some weeks back, we had actually introduced the new flagship bow for Bear. Did a slight rundown on it, the new Bear Execute. Now, they come in a 32 and a 30-inch axle length. All right. Well, anyway, I chose the 32 for myself. I just like a little longer bows whenever possible. Now, I'm not going to get into the specs of the bow or nothing like that. This is my personal bow. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on some of the things that I discovered about the bow when I first set it up and started shooting it, tuned it, accuracy, the whole 9 yards. So it's only fair to tell you that right up front, this is absolutely one of the strongest bows I've ever seen constructed in my life. The limb pocket is just absolutely a dream to behold. I'm not sure I've ever seen a limb pocket this more robust and beefy on a bow in my life. And when you understand the mechanics of a bow, this is a very critical area. This is like having a really good strong crankshaft and your connecting rods for the pistons are junk. Well, this one's not junk. This is a really good connecting rod here, all right? Now, that's one of the first things I noticed was how solid and what's the word I'm looking for? How solid and sturdy the bow felt. As soon as you pick it up, you can just feel the quality that they built into this bow. Now, this is a flagship bow. This is not an inexpensive bow. They retail for right at $1,000. Now, another thing I noticed was the machine work on the bow is very, very good. It's very, very pleasant to look at. There's no rough edges or nothing compared to some of the other lower end bows that we see from Bear. There's some rough edges and stuff. This has no rough edges. So you have to look pretty hard on a camouflage bow like this one in mossy-oak bottomlands. You have to look pretty hard because the finish does kind of hide a lot of imperfections. But as the closer I looked, I could not find any imperfections in this bow at all in the machining and the tooling. Now, and something else I noticed too was how they do the axles. All right, these are 5/8 bearings with big 1/4-inch axles, and no more eclipse. There's actually a little screw right here with a cone-shaped or a cup, a little machine aluminum cup that the screws seat against into the internal threads of the axle, holding it together. I noticed that. Now, I will tell you up front, their strings and cables leave a little bit to be desired. So I did replace the strings and cables right off the bat. I put a good set of gas ghost strings and cables on this bow. After about 200 shots, I shot about 200 times. Then I replaced strings and cables, and those strings and cables did make a difference in the bow. The bow tuned exceptionally better, noticeably easier. With the factory strings and cables, I was getting a little bit of inconsistencies in the tune. I'd get the tune real nice, and then I'd pick the bow up 4 or 5 hours later, and I'd be getting little tears here or there, just kind of inconsistent. But once I put on the better strings and cables, all that completely disappeared. So I would like to see Bear upgrade their strings and cables a little bit, but nevertheless, it is what it is. I did replace strings and cables. Now, and the next thing I noticed when I went to tune the bow, it did tune exceptionally easy. I did, for a binary cam, I did not have to shim anything, which is not uncommon for binary cams, having to shim if you get a persistent left or right tear. I noticed that. Next thing I noticed was how comfortable the grip is. All right. Usually, a lot of companies kind of don't give you all that comfortable of a grip. This grip is very, very comfortable. It comes with 2 grips. All right, I know I'm looking through a bow here, but I want you to be able to see the grip. This grip here that it comes with on the bow when you take it out of the box has a very slight palm swell right here. All right. Now, also on the back of the grip, you will see a groove right in the back of the grip. I used that groove to line up the bowstring with and line up my arrow with that for center shot, and I never had to touch it. I never had to touch it. It actually worked pretty stinking good. Whether that's what that groove's for or not, that's what I used it for, and it did work to set up the bow. Now, it also comes with a flat black grip. if you don't like the hump here, you can put on the flat back grip that it does come with. I myself kind of prefer the one with the hump in it. I did shoot this one, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but I noticed for me in my shooting style, my accuracy got just a little bit inconsistent, just kind of weird. It wasn't like I was shooting 4-inch group with one and 1 inch with the hump one, or the palm swell, but it was just a little harder to be consistent in my accuracy with the flat back grip. So I took it off, and I put the palm swell one on it. Well, then I got curious, so I took both grips off, and I shot it right off the back of the riser, which the back of the riser is machined, so it's not square edged or nothing, so it's not that uncomfortable, but it is very, very narrow. So if you like a very, very narrow, rounded grip, then take the grip completely off, shoot it right off the bare bow. I will say this, take the grip off, the bow looked cosmetically really cool without the grip on. It looked really cool. But anyhow, I preferred the palm swell, so I put it back on there. Now, the draw cycle on the bow, very pleasant. It wasn't harsh. It didn't have any big hump and dumps at the back end when you hit the valley. Let off was very pleasant. I have this, you can adjust the let off on these from 75, 80, 85, or 90% let off. I prefer the 85. That's where this is set at, and it did exceptionally well. Now, speed-wise, when I shot through the chronograph, I'm shooting a gold tip Pro Hunter arrow. Total arrow weight made up is 419 grains. I have the bow set at about 57 pounds. That's 57, not 67, 57 pounds. And my draw length, 420 grain arrow, and I got just a tick over 280 foot a second with it. I think it's like 281, something like that. So that's a pretty respectable speed for an arrow that heavy at 57 pounds of bow weight. And also consider this is a 70-pound bow, which I cannot handle, and I backed it down to 57. This bow does have a 15-pound weight range, by the way. So anyhow, now, then when I took it outside to shoot it, I tried all different ways. I put 11-inch bar on it. I had a 10-inch bar on it. I put an 8-inch back bar on it on the left side, on the right side. I tried a 7.5-inch back bar. I put different weights on the stabilizer. I did all this. And for my personal taste, I've never been much of a back bar guy. And I found out that I did just as well, if not slightly better, with just an 11-inch front bar on it. That gave me the optimum weight balance I was looking for without adding a lot of mass weight to the bow. My weak shoulders don't like a lot of mass weight hanging out there on my shoulders anymore. I'm on the front side of 70, and mass weight is a problem for old guys. So I left the back bars off. Now, accuracy-wise, this is absolutely one of the most stable aiming bows I have ever picked up. This son of a gun just aims like a cotton picking stone. I mean, it really aims exceptionally well. Does that mean it's the best aiming bow on the planet? Well, no, there's a lot of good aiming bows out there, but I'm just saying for Bear, in their first entry into the high-end market, they did a superb job on this bow. Built well, aims very, very well. Didn't have any trouble with it aiming. It didn't want to float a lot on me once I got draw length set and poundage where I needed it. It aimed exceptionally well. It actually aimed exceptionally well to the point that within my skill set, I'm certainly no professional shooter, I was consistently now able to shoot 1.5 to 2 inch groups at 50 yards with my setup, and I'm shooting a heavier hunting setup. So now I get it. A lot of people say, "Oh, 2 inch groups, nothing." Well, maybe you're better than me. I don't know. But the point is, for me, 2 inch groups at 50 yards, considering I can barely see things at 50 yards, it's pretty impressive. So the accuracy the potential is definitely there. I'm trying to think of what else to tell you about it. I tried several different arrow rests on it. I ended up with the Hamskea primer. I did try the Hamskea Epsilon on it. And for what I noticed, I didn't really see enough of an advantage in the Epsilon to offset the price difference. There's like $100 price difference between the Hamskea primer and the Epsilon. The Epsilon is just super well built. The Epsilon is quieter. I will give it that, and it's not quite so bulky looking. Cosmetically, it's a little more streamlined rest, but nevertheless, on this bow, both of them worked phenomenal. I did also try a vapor trail drop away on it with equal success. So the bow is very forgiving as far as what rests you put on it. I did discover that. As far as the new roller guard and everything here, it is adjustable left and right to aid in tuning a little bit. I experienced zero problems with that. Zero. In the past, some of this roller guards that they had like an older bows, like on the Kuma, the Refined, the Status. This roller guard would give us a fit on some of those bows. We'd tear the bushings out of them, and sometimes the roller guard would just fly off the bow because the bushings went bad, things would break. This one here, I probably have pretty close to 800 to 1,000 shots out of this bow by now. I've been shooting it for about a month now, and I shoot every day, inside or outside if the weather permits, and I've experienced zero problems with this bow, which you better, for a high-end bow, you are perfectly within your rights to expect that many with no problems. But I'm saying this bow did the same thing. Now, nothing else. I had no other issues with anything at all. I don't know what else to tell you. It is 100% machine aluminum riser, no castings, no forgings. It is 100% machine aluminum. Anyway, one thing I did like very well, cosmetically, they tapered off the corners of the limbs here. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea, because I have seen guys that get rough on their bows bang these square limbs around it, and it can chip and nick the edges of the square limb. Well, they eliminated it. They just took the corners off. Not only does it look cool, but it also has a functional purpose. Anyway, now, so all I can tell you, folks, is if you have not given the Bear Execute bows a chance, you're doing yourself a great disservice. You really need to give these bows a try. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. These things are absolutely aiming, shooting son of a guns, built like a doggone bulldozer as far as strength. Now, one thing you also did notice, I actually tore this bow completely down a few months back to show people how the bow is actually assembled and built. Now, what you did not see on camera is how tight the limbs fit into this limb pocket. Limb to limb pocket fit is very critical on a bow. You don't want any movement in there. What you did not see on camera, if you go back in my page and review that video, what you did not see was how hard of a time I had getting these limbs back into the limb pocket fit. That was the tightest fit I've ever had any bow in 30 years fit into a limb pocket. But I dang near had to take a rubber mallet and beat those limbs back in there. Well, so anyway, I'm running out of time here, folks. I'm going to let you go here real quick. But anyhow, so do yourself a favor. Take a look at the new Bear Execute 32 or the 30. We have the 30 in stock. This is the only 32 we have, but we got more coming. Do yourself a favor. Give this bow a try. You are not going to be disappointed. Anyway, so hey, that's it. I'm Albert Moore from Blue Jacket Archery. Until next time, folks, come on down to that little cabin in the valley and see what hunters shoot. Until next time, have a great day. And don't forget about the surprise we're coming. We're going to introduce to everybody here in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Stay tuned for that. Until next time, folks, have a great day. Thank you.